Is there anybody listening? Is there anyone that sees what's going on? Read between the lines, criticize the words they're selling. Think for yourself and feel the
Good morning and welcome back to the trailer park. I am Chanda-Masta and this is Hello Monday. It is Monday. Are we actually launching on everything? Let me make sure this stream is up and running. It has been a crazy busy week. I don't take days off anymore, so all my days blur into each other and all of my content blurs into each other. I don't know which day I brought what story anymore or if I brought that story. I'm starting to lose it, guys. Let's see. Yeah, we're good. Make sure we launched on the Kick and the Rumble. My content, there you are. Good morning, Rumble. Good morning to whoever's watching on the Rumble. We're picking up followers over on the Rumble. It's slow going, but it's there. This is my actual yard behind me. And Kick, we've been loving you on Kick. Oh my gosh, Kick is amazing. Beautiful picture. But it's when I log in, I always have to hear myself for a few seconds. Dingo's over there. Hi, Dingo. Cold Fusion. But does it keep it running? Is that like last week's? Or you guys been super chatting? I don't know. I feel like I'm not even awake yet. Am I dreaming this? Am I actually here? Let's get the chat in here. There's my chat. I felt so alone. Now I don't feel alone. Why don't I have a chat in the Rokfin? Are you guys not chatting? You guys always chat on the Rokfin. Let me refresh that. Good morning, Snow Leopard. Hi, Barb. Hi, Barb. No, nobody's chatting on the Rokfin. That's kind of crazy. Let's see. We got Snow Leopard, Barb, Kim. Hi, Kim. Jilly Love. Hi, Jilly. Yeah, I know a couple of others went late this morning that don't normally run at the same time as me, but that's okay. We love them. So if you want to go hang out over there, we understand. Jax is in the house. Good morning, Jax. I've got a huge, huge show. I say that every day, but I swear I just keep throwing content on the deck till like right when I go live. I have a 60 slide deck and it is dense too. I'm not just filler, like every single slide is going to be, a deep dive. So we're just going to get it started. It's Monday. How's everybody's Monday? You love the garden pick? Thanks. I've been out there. It looks so much better now because it's just, it's gone crazy over the last couple of days. My sunflowers are taller than me now. I'm going to get out there and get a picture for you guys this week so you can see how big the Russian mammoths are getting compared to the American hybrid. The American hybrids are only like 4 feet tall, and the Russian mammoths, they're probably going to hit 9 feet, I'm thinking. I hope they hit 9 feet. So I'm in a couple of gardening clubs where everybody boasts about how big their sunflowers are. Iris, welcome. Hi, Shanda. Where can I find the second part of the Isaac Cappy episode? It's not on Rokfin or Rumble? It's not? I will look for it, Iris. I don't think we took it down. It might be called something else. It might be called Epstein Island. So maybe look for the Epstein Island one, but I'll look for it. It's been a while. I mean, that was a couple of years ago. So poor Isaac Cappy, rest in peace. I don't know what happened to him at the end, but I know that it wasn't voluntary. And, there was people that were with him that were saying some weird shit, like normal people, like not wrapped up in all of it, that were saying that they were hearing voices coming through the car radio. And come on, we know they got the technology to fucking warp your brain like that shit. It kind of reminds me of that movie in the 80s when, what was that movie? It wasn't Weird Science, but it was like Weird Science, and they kept talking to that guy, and this is God. They kept telling him it was God, and he was in his braces, right? It was a little transmitter in his braces. So I don't know. Rest in peace, Isaac Cappy. But he validated some feelings that I had about some of those people in Hollywood, like Tom Hanks, right? It's always the nicest people, right? It's always the ones that you think are the best that are the worst. And Isaac Cappy really brought that out. There's a new Isaac Cappy. His name's not Isaac Cappy. His name is Stephen Hilton. And you can find him on Rumble. You can find him on YouTube. And basically, he's been in Hollywood for 20 years. He's a musician, but his wife, his soon-to-be ex-wife, is an actress. And I started watching their content years ago, and something's changed, and he's pivoted, and he's decided he's going to go out there and tell what he knows. And he's scared for his life. Like, half the streams I see him put up now are trying to protect himself, and people following him, just weird. Same shit Cappy went through. So check him out if you're interested in some name dropping. Because that was the biggest thing about Sound of Freedom that people have told me is there is no names. There is no names. I know, where is everybody? Tech support. Normally the Rokfin is the one that's blowing up every day, but the Rokfin, you're just all by your lonesome over there. I'm sorry. They'll come in. It just takes a little while. Like I said, there's a lot of people live right now. So this is my hippy dippy Monday. And let's just get this show started. I'm going to sit here and ramble. Of course, we are on Rumble, YouTube, Kick, Rokfin, Twitch, and the Land of Oz on Twitter. Of course, the Roar Media. Make sure you're following Roar Media. I know it's hard to follow all of the shit we're doing. And people are like finding us on one channel, but not finding us on another. I apologize. But, we work for a network, and we have our independent channels. So that's why that happens. Fair use. I'm afraid I took a big copyright strike on Saturday, and I think it might be one that will shut our channel down. And for the stupidest shit, it was for that dude that glued his hand to the tarmac, and then they had to jackhammer it off. Apparently, you're not allowed to make fun of climate activists on YouTube anymore, because they are striking down channels that ran that. And of course, I wonder if he's Hilton, Crazy Rich People. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's related to the Hiltons, because he has a British accent, and he's pretty down to earth, lives normal like us, like, 3-bedroom house in the middle of, far away from Hollywood. So I don't think he's related to the Hiltons, but they're disgusting. The Hilton family, oh my God, Paris and her mother, oh, they're the worst. So yeah, copyright strikes coming at us, but fair use. I try to do my best to just commentate on what I'm seeing and bring you guys what we're seeing too. That's the whole point. So I'll take the copyright strikes as long as they don't hit the channel. But this one, I'm worried they're going to take the channel down, because they took Memology 101 down for it yesterday. So I'll be doing some editing after the show if it's in there. I can't even remember what I brought, where it is. So who knows? PayPal, all the links are in the description below. You guys have been so helpful and so amazing. We have a cookbook that we are doing for a fundraiser. So to get Roar Media to Argentina, we're going to go to Argentina and observe their elections in October. Fingers crossed. Fundraising goes well. But we're starting a cookbook, and we want your guys' recipes, photos, ideas, and a name. We need a name for our cookbook. So I think Amber and I are going to come together, probably do a show and break that all down for you. Jax, thank you so much. Super chat says RBN got a strike and is banned for 2 weeks. Fuck, motherfuckers. What was the strike for, Jax? Do you know? Do you know what the strike was? The Hiltons. That's hot. Yeah, I know, Gregory. I wonder what they got struck for. But that every time we open our mouths on YouTube, we're running the risk of losing our channel. And us here, we started out on a different channel. Of course, we were Christine the Natural Progressive, the channel is The Natural Prepper. The channel is still there. If you followed years ago, you're still there, but make sure that you're still followed. We love Christine. I would love to get her back on the show. Her and I haven't had a chat in a while, but we love to come together and just chat. But originally, that's where a lot of our stuff was. And then we were Roar, but then YouTube kept smacking us. And because Roar was a nonprofit, we couldn't really make money over there. So that's when Beauty and the Boomer took that channel over. And it's crazy ducking and weaving all of these goddamn copyright strikes that they love to get us with. So if they got one, I'm sure we covered the same topic, which means we're probably next, right? Trailer Park Pundit needs your help. Yeah, I'm trying to get to the land of Oz, and as you guys know, my car has decided it's time to die, and all the deets are in there. All the links to everything are in the description below, including some of our old content, and of course, Joey's coffee. If you haven't had yourself some Joey's coffee, it's the best damn coffee you'll ever taste. And I think there might even be a link to our old merch store in there that might still have a little bit of Beauty and the Boomer merch in it. I didn't like the quality of the merch in that store, so we're going to build a new merch store, but we've been looking like who's cost effective, who's using, union labor, but it's, the quality of the clothing, if you wash it once or twice, is the logo going to fade? Because that was the problem with the last one. So I will get there. I promise. I've been busy. Okay. This day in history, a lot of shit happened today. So much I had to do 2 slides. So Walt Disney opened his theme park in Anaheim, California, 1955. Oh, long time of being predators of children, right? And of course, oh yeah, American civil rights leader, politician John Lewis, who helped lead the march that was halted by police violence, of course, passed away at the age of 80. I actually met John Lewis at the DNC convention in 2016. I was in, I guess it's probably like the Commons down by City Hall in Philadelphia. And here comes John Lewis just stomping through the crowd. And it was early, like there wasn't a lot going on. It was, I don't know, probably 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. I looked over and I was like, holy shit, that's John Lewis. Back then, I was still a cog and still asleep. And oh, he's the greatest thing. I would love to meet him. And I just remember his hands were massive. Like he put his hand out, and I was just like, I was almost shocked at like, what they say about hands. I'm just saying, but we put pressure on him because he was a super delegate, and we wanted him to get behind Bernie. How can you say you stand with civil rights and you were, out there marching in Selma, Alabama with Martin Luther King? And then of course they had the whole virtue signal in 2016 where they all marched across the bridge. You remember that? Oh yeah. Anyway, so we were just like, how the hell can you support Clinton when Bernie is running on everything you say you support? And he was just like, oh yeah, I know. Like, I'm not changing my vote. Oh, let's look at the birthdays. There was a couple of birthdays today, of course, the queen consort. It just says queen on the thing. I'm like, wait a minute. She's not actually the queen. She is the queen consort. But Angela Merkel and President Snow. President Snow's birthday is today. And who remembers Phyllis Diller? I know some of you remember Phyllis Diller. I definitely remember. That was kind of a crazy moment. Do you guys know there's going to be a second Hunger Games or second series to Hunger Games? And it's going to go back to the very first or the second Hunger Games where President Snow actually won it. So I'm kind of excited about that. I've always enjoyed the Hunger Games series, but we read the books in our family before the movies. So that makes a big difference. It really does. Okay, a couple more things that happened today. 2014 Malaysian Air Flight 17 crashed in a territory of Ukraine, killing 298 people. A Dutch investigation later determined that the aircraft was shot down by Russian-made surface-to-air missiles. 2014 plane goes down in Ukraine. Knowing what I know now, do I believe that? I don't know. I don't know what I believe anymore. I know that's what they're trying to tell me what happened, but just seems like coinky dinky timing. 2009, American journalist Walter Cronkite, who was the longtime heir of CBS Evening News with Walter Cronkite, died at 92. Wow, I remember that, but boy, he lived for a long time. 92, man. If you can get to 92, you've had a good full life, right? I know a lot of the boomers out there, you grew up watching Cronkite. I know my mother and my father did. They always talked about it, right? Watching the propaganda come across for the Vietnam news, he was a good slinger of the propaganda. And 1998, the United Nations completed the statute establishing the International Criminal Court, the ICC, which begins setting 4 years later, which doesn't mean a goddamn thing because we don't subscribe to it. No, Russia don't subscribe to it. Like, what is the fucking point, right? What is the point? We rule the United Nations, so does it really matter? Doesn't really matter. Okay, that was this day in history. Yeah, you got a lot of them. Yes, Walter was a good slinger of crap, right? But we didn't know it was crap back then. My mom just, she grew up on Guam. They were stationed on Guam in 67 till 69. So, and she had 4 brothers, older brothers that were all stationed in Vietnam. And so, I mean, the impact that the Vietnam War made on my mother and her whole entire life is, I mean, it's palpable. I can see it. I wasn't even born, but I understand because of the way that she described it to me and always talked about it. And yeah, they would gather around the TV every night to get a body count from Walter Cronkite, right? We don't even get body counts anymore. And we're going to talk about that because I got a huge Ukraine section. But I told you guys I'd get you a weather update. And Ryan Hall has been posting, but you got to go to his lives because they pop up in the lives just like ours. So if you're digging through our page, sometimes some of our stuff has been uploaded as a video. Sometimes it's been uploaded as a live. So you just got to kind of go through all the different tabs to find it. So I found me a update from Ryan Hall, y'all. I think he's the best weatherman in the country, hands down. And he's independent. So let's hear about hurricane season. Where's all the hurricanes? It's hurricane season. We haven't seen any yet. Don't worry, they're coming.
The threat for hurricanes in the near future is rapidly increasing because right now, the Atlantic Ocean is hotter than it's ever been before. And hot oceans are like jet fuel for hurricanes. But things are currently very quiet in the tropics. There's something stopping big storms from forming. In this video, I'm going to explain what that thing is and what's going to happen when it goes away. The Atlantic Ocean is like a ticking time bomb right now with all of these crazy sea surface temperatures. We've been keeping track of this stuff since 1854, and no other year comes close to comparing with what we're dealing with right now. Just look at this map showing where the waters are warmer than usual. Everything is steaming hot out there. One of the hottest spots is down here near Florida, where just the other day a 98.5 degree water temperature was recorded. 98.5. That's like a daggone hot tub. And we can even zoom way out and continue to see those 90-degree waters across a huge region of the Atlantic. This is not normal and could lead to disaster if a hurricane was able to interact with it. Check out this map showing the current maximum hurricane potential out there. If given the perfect conditions, a huge chunk of the Atlantic could support a Category 4 or 5 hurricane right now. And the crazy thing is, we are at the very beginning of hurricane season. We are nowhere near the peak or when the waters are supposed to be at their hottest. But if things are really that primed for hurricanes out there, then where are all the hurricanes? You see, things are pretty calm right now, mainly due to a combination of Saharan dust and vertical wind shear which stunt the growth of tropical storms. The larger deterrent of these two is wind shear, which is basically when all the winds up in the atmosphere start changing speed and direction with height. And there's a large area of that happening around the Caribbean currently, and it's acting as a shield, keeping all the big storms away. And earlier this year, we thought this pattern would carry through the entire season due to the fact that El Nino was ramping up. You see, when the waters around the equatorial Pacific start getting really warm like they are right now, we call that El Nino. And with El Nino, you'll get a bunch of storm activity over here in the Pacific, leading to a lot of hostile trade winds and wind shear in the Atlantic. So with the forecast calling for a strong El Nino just a few months ago, it was seemingly safe to say that this wind shear would continue, therefore leading to an average or slightly below average hurricane season. But things are starting to change as new forecast data is coming out. We're still going to have an El Nino, but it's looking less likely that this one will become excessively strong. The waters in the Pacific might only get moderately warmer than usual, leading to less frequent storms around the equator, and therefore less overall trade winds and wind shear. If these upper air winds calm down even for a little bit, our ticking time bomb could explode. And I think that's more likely to happen with a weaker El Nino in place. Any storm that's allowed to form in this environment will likely turn into a monster and cause big problems for whoever it comes into contact
with. So yeah, big bombs. I used to live down by Baton Rouge, so I understand the the way that hurricanes come in. And I saw somebody in the chat say insurance in Florida is insane. Well, let's look at those states that border, right? Here, there's a map right here. This will work. You got Mississippi, Georgia, and Florida and Louisiana, right? All right next door to each other, all in that zone that's supposed to be the most impacted by climate change, right? Global warming. And obviously the water's getting warmer down there. We have the massive algae blooms that are just killing off. We're having a mass die off down there. I already knew that the water, I heard that the water had hit like 98 degrees this week. That's insane. That is a hot tub. That is truly a hot tub. And living in the Northwest, our water is 62 degrees. Sometimes it goes up to 42 in the summer if it's really hot. So for me to wrap my mind around that, that's insane to me. But who's it going to affect the most? It's going to affect the poor, because why? They're the ones. Hurricanes always knock out the trailer parks. Tornadoes always wipe out the trailer parks, right? Why is that? Because they conduct heat, because there's a lot of metal there. But this is going to hurt the poorest among us first. These massive storms that are coming in, right? That the Democrats are screaming about, but they don't control the weather at all. You should have seen the chemtrails yesterday in my place. It was insane. Massive chemtrails. Oh, why did it take my face off? It like cut half my face off. Well, you'll see. This is Dabu 7. Do you guys know that a massive earthquake hit Alaska yesterday? I'm close to Alaska, so I wake up and I don't know anything about it. I see a message from Jilly 5 hours later that says, "Hey, huge tsunami." I'm like, what? Because I literally live 3 miles from the Strait of Juan de Fuca. So it's like a bathtub. It's going to funnel through our strait. If any earthquake goes on in Alaska, we are in danger down here on the tip of Washington State. I would have been dead. Like, I don't even hear our sirens, the the tsunami evacuations. I don't even hear them, and I live close to the water. It's crazy. But let's look at this earthquake, see what it was.
Tsunami warning. Evacuate. Alerta de tsunami. Evacuar.
Doesn't look like anybody's running.
And this is Dabu 7. You can see here, there has been a massive quake strike right off the coast of Alaska. I'll take us over here to the earthquake map so you guys can see here where it's situated. Those alarms were going off around Kodiak. And you can see this is south of Sand Point, listed as a 7.4. I believe USGS has this listed as a 7.2. This is a monster quake.
That is pretty big.
And they have tsunami warnings in effect here, saying that the waves should be affecting areas, well, anytime now. This happened overnight, some hours ago. As you can see here, 2:48 a.m. The West Coast could be seeing some of these waves incoming already. So, with a big quake like this and the ongoing swarming, we're going to keep an alert out here for more quake activity.
Yeah, we've had a lot of quake activity. Amber's really good about reporting on that and keeping an eye on it. Of course, we live on the edge of the Ring of Fire. We have not only the San Andreas Fault that runs up, but we have the Cascadia Fault. Literally, the Cascadia Fault runs about 3 miles to the east of me. It goes right down the middle of Main Street in my town. And yeah, I'm scared of big earthquakes. We are sitting on a loaded spring up here on the Pacific Northwest that is past overdue to launch our asses. And it's happened before. It will happen again. And we're not prepared for it either. I actually sat through our FEMA, our emergency management testimony down at our local capital, at our state capital, and it's truly terrifying. Like, we'll have liquid factation so bad that we're going to be micro islands, and they're going to have trouble getting to people. They say that we'll have probably an 80% die off in our counties, our 3 counties up here, just because we're a retirement community, and they're not going to be able to reach us. You know, people not being able to get their meds, you know, whatever. It's going to be a total catastrophe up here. If anything higher than a 7 hits the Pacific Northwest. So earthquakes scare me, and I keep an eye on them. Let's see, what do we got here? I have declared a state of emergency due to severe storms throughout the state causing hazardous weather. And this was New Jersey. Yeah, New Jersey yesterday declared a state of emergency. This is the is this Europe? Yeah, look at that. Look at those temperatures. The temperature in China hit 126 degrees Friday, and it beats the old record by almost 3 Fahrenheit. The world is on fire. I don't doubt that the world is on fire, but they want to make the poor's pay for it, right? That's the way I see it. We're not going after big fuel, big fuel. We're not going after big gas, big coal. We're not going after the military industrial complex. It's all your goddamn fault because you drive your car to the Walmart every day for 2 miles. Like that, I'm not denying that the planet's on fire. The planet's on fire. But is the planet on fire because of us, or is the planet on fire because that's naturally what it wants to do? Mother Earth does what she wants, and we know that. And we are peons to think that we can control her. Okay, let's get into Biden. We got a lot to talk about. Impeach Biden now. Yeah. The Biden-Harris team dramatically outraised and announced their totals from every GOP candidate running for president, including Donald Trump, by more than 2.1% and Ron DeSantis by 3.1%. I am not buying this shit. Biden raised $72 million in the second quarter by small donors. Bullshit. No small donors, no Bernie people are love bombing you, and we freaking know it. We know it, and it's a complete lie. But hey, they got to pretend and spew their crap, right? You're from Cascadia too, Shendog. You plan a pretty picnic, but only DARPA controls the weather. Yes, only DARPA controls the weather. You guys know that, and that's what I love about it. I can have a conversation with you. You understand what I'm saying. I tell my brother that chemtrails are real, and it blows his mind. And this is a college educated man. Like, oh my God, you're such a conspiracy theorist. You don't know what the difference between a chemtrail and a conch trail is. That's a conch trail up there. I'm like, no, it ain't. No, it's not. But someday people will look up and understand that we knew what the fuck was going on. Okay, more from Biden. This is how lost this guy is. Ugh. This way? No.
Mr. President, thank you.
This way.
At the end of such a momentous event, the word thank you seems kind of inadequate. But for all the millions whose lives will be
he's not
saved,
talking to me. I'm going to go this way.
for the communities where life will be transformed, thank you. So thank you, President Biden, for your outstanding...
Aren't you proud to be an American? Yeah, and fracking too. We don't go after fracking either. Huh, Red Angel. Of course. So happy International Ice Cream Day. Yesterday was Ice Cream Day. Of course, Biden was out there helping the kitties. Hello, kitties. Yeah, that's exactly how I see Biden too. I see him as the old man perv from Family Guy. So disgusting. Okay, let's move on to Ukraine. And they kind of made a few admissions this weekend about Ukraine, right? We were supposed to be waiting for this big summer offensive that was going to happen, right? And then they were going to kick Russia's ass once they got all of the military weaponry that we were going to give them and munitions. And yeah, it kind of stalled out, and that's not what happened. So after suffering heavy losses, Ukraine pauses to rethink their strategy. Early in the counteroffensive, Ukraine has lost as much as 20% of their weapons and armor. 20%, that's what they're telling us, right? The rate dropped as the campaign allowed, and comrades shift their tactics. So, okay, they've slowed their roll, and they're taking another look at it, right? Yeah, AOC wants you for World War III. She does. Sandy, AOC Sandy. And let's see. This is going to be like a 4-part Ukrainian thing. In the first 2 weeks of the Ukrainians' grueling counteroffensive, as much as 20% of the weaponry sent into the battlefield was damaged or destroyed, according to American and European officials. The toll includes some of the formidable Western fighting machines, tanks, and armored and personal carriers the Ukrainians were counting on to beat the Russians back. The startling rate of loss dropped to about 10% in the ensuing weeks. The official said, preserving more of the troops and machinery needed for major offensive push in the Ukraine says it's still to come. So basically they're saying, well, we lost a bunch of machinery and they don't even tell us people, right? That's the whole thing. Everything they came out and admitted this fucking week, we don't get no body counts. We don't get no your Ukrainian body counts. I didn't even get stoned this morning. Why can't I talk? What the hell? Maybe I should have got stoned. But yeah, they're just like, oh, well, yeah, we lost like half of what we sent there, but we're just going to slow down and reevaluate. And no, you don't need to know how many lives were lost. We're doing good. We're doing good. Lindsey Graham thinks this is fucking great because he says the Ukrainians are dismantling the Russian military. Not one American service member is on the ground fighting or dying in support. If we continue to responsibly assist Ukrainians with the weapons they need, they will win. And what did he say? Well, the cost is nothing to us, just some Russian lives. So, yeah, let me see your war face. Oh, look, there's his war face. I always just see him as a Southern gentleman, right? He's a Southern warmongering gentleman. So gross. Those are all old refaces that I've had. I have so many refaces. On Fridays, I'm going to start loading you guys down with the videos because I can't bring the videos because we take a copyright strike for them. But I have hundreds of reface videos. I was digging through my drive the other day. I was like, oh, God, I got to bring these. Some of these are freaking hilarious. So the Biden administration is quietly debating whether to send how do you say it? What's ATACMS missiles, but is it ACTMAS missiles? Snorky, I know you know. The United States already has plans for the limited stock of low-range army to tactical missile systems. So, yeah, let's give them more, right? And that's what it is. You remember the days when Obama dropped so many bombs that he ran out? That's where we're at again. We're out of shit that we want to give them, right? And that's why we're down to these cluster munitions, is because, well, we're running out. We have a stockpile of these. They don't work very well. So let's just give them to Ukraine, right? So, but I brought that because every time I bring you guys a story where they're deciding that they're going to send some kind of munitions over to Ukraine, it's funny. They end up deciding to send it. And so you might as well just count that one as already decided, and they're going to start shipping them out soon. This is not going away. On Saturday, I brought a lot of great breakdowns of world leaders and former world leaders. And if you're listening to what they're saying, the NATO allies, they're not going to stop. They're not going to done until either Ukraine is completely annihilated and Putin gets a completely broken territory back to rule, or they do a regime change, right? Because that's ultimately what they've been after. That's what this is all about. So Caitlin Johnstone, today in War Propaganda, the New York Times excludes some crucial information about cluster bombs from its headline. The Washington Post and The Guardian have some interesting views on the NATO membership for Ukraine. And surprise, John Bolton loves cluster munitions. Surprise. Yeah, we knew that. Caitlin Johnstone, if you're not following her, down to earth, amazing writer. She just knows how to put it out there in a palatable, understandable way. Been following her and loving her work for so long. Biden has put the world on the edge of World War III. Hashtag impeach Biden. Yeah, that's going to hang around for a while. But God, what do we get if we impeach Biden? You know? We get Harris. That's scary. So speaking of weapons, Oz sent me this the other day, and Rep. Jason Crow says bioweapons have been developed to target people based on DNA. What? Amber's been telling us this for a long time. Like, she even said COVID, right as COVID was happening, like this could be engineered to target certain peoples, right? And we've heard that. That's what RFK Jr. is saying, right? He said it on a podcast not too long ago that this was designed to take certain people out. But let's hear from those in the know, right? They're the ones doing this shit, so they know best.
Yeah, so to be clear, I think one of the things we're talking about here is that there are now weapons under development and developed that are designed to target specific people. Right, that's what this is, where you can actually take someone's DNA, take their medical profile, and you can target a biological weapon that will kill that person or take them off the battlefield or make them inoperable. So you can't have a discussion about this without talking about privacy and commercial data. in the protection of commercial data, because expectations of privacy have degraded over the last 20 years. Young folks actually have very little expectation of privacy. That's what the polling and the data show.
That's what they
and
want.
people will very rapidly spit into a cup and send it into 23andMe and get really interesting data about their background. And guess what? Their DNA is now owned by a private company and can be sold off with very little intellectual property protection or privacy protection. And we don't have legal and regulatory regimes to deal with that. So we have to have an open and public discussion, and this is going to have to be a political discussion about what does the protection of healthcare information, DNA information, and your data look like, because that data is actually going to be procured and collected by our adversaries for the development of these systems.
So there you go. It doesn't matter if you want your data not to be given out, because it's already out there. And the kids nowadays, they're just like, what? I want them to track me. I'm not doing anything wrong. One day they're gonna regret that, right? How gross that they can just track you down by your DNA. It's a scary world we live in. How's the chats doing? I see people starting to roll in slowly. Hi, Dingo. Gregory's here. Hi, Jim. Good morning over on the Rokfin. The Rumble's up, but I don't see anybody chatting over there. And the Kick is hanging out too. I should start bringing up the Land of Oz, but there wasn't really anybody hanging out there. Choosy says, if it wasn't for Ryan Hall's palette of Dasani, then his head would fly off. I'd personally rather die than drink Dasani. I hear you. I've ran a lot of convenience stores in my life. That's what I did for like at least 10 years. And there's a four corner that I literally ran every convenience store on all four corners. But anyways, Dasani is of course a Coca-Cola product, right? Or is it Pepsi? No, it's Coke. It's Coke. And I had an old lady that would come in and she would say to me, I don't know what it is about that Dasani, but it gives me the poops. And I'd laugh and be like, well, don't drink the Dasani then. So there you go. It'll give you the poops. I think this is your first United spot, or maybe it's the only United spot. I don't remember.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to America Last. I'm your host, President Obama.
Damn, hey, my buzz is not working.
You hear something, Joe?
I didn't hear none.
My
My buzz is not working.
Top 5 answers on the board. We asked 100 Democrats, how do you make America great again?
Hey, my buzzer isn't working.
Show me my buzzer isn't working. All right, Joe, we asked 100 Democrats, how do you make America great again?
Give money to Ukraine.
Show me give money to Ukraine. All right, Dr. Fauci, we asked 100 Democrats.
Sniffing babies.
Joe, it's not your turn.
Oh, sorry about that.
All right, Dr. Fauci, we asked 100 Democrats, how do you make America great again?
Fear.
Show me fear.
Fear.
All right, Mike, we asked 100 Democrats, how do you make America great again? It's not my concern. Show me it's not my concern. All right, Kamala, we asked 100 Democrats, how do you make America great again?
Reduce the population.
Show me reduce the population.
She said that this
All right,
week.
Nancy, we asked 100 Democrats, how do you make America great again?
Drinking. Lots of drinking.
Show me drinking. Lots of drinking.
There you go. That's how you make America great again. Depopulation. Yeah, she said it. Was it Freudian? Fuck no. It's never Freudian, guys. They have to tell you the evil they're doing. That's the rule of the universe. Whether you call it God, a higher power, a higher source, the source, Allah, doesn't matter. You know, if you subscribe to the fact that we're living in the goddamn matrix, there's some kind of source that created the construct that we're in, right? So they have to say it. They have to tell you the evil they're doing. Speaking of evil, I don't know if this guy's evil or just stupid. You know, I get it. He has small kids, so he's grifting so he can pay the bills. That's what I see in Ryan Grimm. But Ryan Grimm's been out there spewing a bunch of shit. And yes, Jilly, we are gonna get to the RFK Jr. You bet your ass it's on the deck. I stayed up. I got up super early this morning to get that shit on the deck, and we're gonna go there. But let's bag on Ryan Grimm first. So people think, let's see, what is this? People didn't think that Trump was actually going to win. A bunch of the voters who voted for Stein afterwards were like, Oops, I thought it was just casting a little protest vote. Yeah, fucker, that's not true at all. I don't think I was casting a little protest vote.
Trump was a potential at that point rather than a reality. Like, and people didn't think that he was actually going to win.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, polls had him down massively.
Right.
Polls, polling units across the board giving him mine over the Huffington Post gave him like a 95% chance of losing the election.
Right.
And so people, I think, weren't taking him as seriously. So, and I bet a bunch of those voters in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan who voted for Stein afterwards were like, oops. I thought I was just casting a little protest vote. I didn't actually want. So I think some of them were
people
like,
who didn't vote.
I think some were like,
Oh yeah, blame
Trump
the people that didn't
and Clinton
participate.
are both awful, and I don't care that I gave up my opportunity to vote against Trump by voting for Stein. I don't care. Like, there's lots of those. But I bet there are a bunch who afterwards were like, oof, if I could do it over again, knowing that Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania were going to be close, like they thought those were blue states, blue wall was secure, that they would go back and vote for Hillary.
Oh, that is so gross. When he speaks, this is all I hear. I'm going to take copyright for that, but it's so worth it because that's exactly what he's saying. Just gibberish bullshit. I would bet that a bunch of them would say, oops, well, you would lose that bet, mister, because we don't regret it. No, stop saying that stuff in the background. We don't regret it. I don't regret my vote for Jill Stein. Not one goddamn bit. Yeah. I knew she didn't have a chance. And yeah, I knew they'd lie about the overall numbers just like they did, right? And this is where I feel so discouraged for Cornell because, with all the infighting with the Green Party and all of that bullshit and they're being corrupt on their own, at the end of the day, the machine is never going to let a third party rise up to a percentage where they get federal funding. It's not going to happen. And if it happens, they are going to control the opposition. It's all about controlled opposition, right? I feel like Howie Hawkins was controlled opposition. Comrade Misty, okay, so Fiorella Isbell says, imagine still believing in the U.S. electoral system, and further, imagine still thinking that the U.S., an empire in decline, is going to vote its way out of this and free fall from within the system that is leading to its eventual demise. And Misty answers, I'm so fucking tired of this game. It's exhausting. What the actual fuck is it going to take before people recognize that electoral politics ain't it? What's it going to take? Well, it takes them getting on board with a candidate and then their candidate getting stomped on. I say that because I'll never forget. I was organizing a rally for Kratom at my local state capitol. I was sitting down talking with our elected representatives. You can't ban Kratom. This is the reason why. It's helping so many people, blah, blah, blah. And I came together. Back then, of course, I was inside the Dems and I was a diehard Bernie person. But Kratom really brought a bipartisan group of people together. And that was the first time I really organized outside of the political space. So I had a Ron Paul people there. And they were like, oh yeah, we fell for it with Ron Paul. And then I had another one like, oh yeah, I supported Nader. So it seems like there's just generations of people getting burned for what they think is a grassroots candidate, right? And then they back off from politics. Like, step up, get involved, realize it's fucked up and rigged, and then they give up and they back off, right? And they move to other things. And that's what I really learned by organizing with other people. What is this? Oh God, this is hilarious. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen dined on psychedelic mushrooms in China. Oh, are you on dope? I wonder what she saw. Did she see her evil self? I don't think so. Right? Because that you're supposed to have a big enlightenment and awakening when you do psychedelics. I don't think she ate enough. Probably not. Maybe she saw her friends hanging out in hell. Who knows? But you don't see her changing her tune. So I kind of think that's not it. She probably just went and hung out with the elite lizard people. That's probably my guess. MSNBS We have a lot of data showing that our economy is doing really well, but America's just not feeling it, Chris Hayes explains. Yeah. And of course, Oz the Boomer says, say a lie enough and not going to work this time, Chris. Yeah, we're not buying it. These stupid fake ass numbers that the Biden administration is rolling out there. Oh, it's the best economy we've ever had. It's the best recovery we've ever had. It's the best unemployment we've ever had. Nobody is suffering. We've pulled children out of poverty. That is a fucking lie. That is 100% a lie. You tell that to the 60 cars that line up every Monday morning at my local food bank 2 hours early to get themselves a little tiny box of food that'll last them 2 or 3 fucking days. You tell that to those people, you lying fools. Numbers are so subjective, right? They can just tell you a number and, hey, that's supposed to be the number. This institute told us that this is the number, so you got to believe it. That's where we're at, and I don't believe it. I know because I'm living it. It is a smash and grab for everything they can get of the middle class. This is the pilfering of what's left of the middle class. You got some equity in your house? We want it. You got some, 401ks? We want it. They're going to take it all because you will own nothing and you will be happy. And that's coming sooner than you think, right? We're 7 years away from owning nothing and being happy. They're getting us there, right? And how are they going to get us there? A combination of different things. Population controls, social controls. Yeah, your social credit score is coming. I feel sorry for those of us living in Washington state because we're paying the highest gas prices in the fucking nation. Washington drivers are still paying the highest price to fill their tanks in the entire country. Now, 43 state lawmakers are calling on Washington State Department of Ecology to step in and help bring gas prices down. Yes, we're tired of paying $5.50, almost $6 at the pump in Washington state. And I had another meme on here that had Inslee. If you don't know who Inslee is, Governor Jay Inslee, of course, he's a Democrat who's been in control of our state since 2016. Because, hey, us Bernie people fucking elected him. We got out there, we campaigned, we grassroots campaigned for him. The one time I met him and had a conversation with him, he was rude and dismissive when we were asking him to change his superdelegate vote. Remember, he was a super delegate. To Bernie Sanders, he was just like, how dare you get out of my face? I mean, but help me get elected. I mean, and we did. We absolutely did. So yeah, man fucks entire state and smiles. Pornhub, there you go. That's exactly what he's done. And he's not running for re-election. No, we have our, who I thought was a decent person for a long time, Bob Ferguson. He's our attorney general. Some of you may know him because he single-handedly has been taking Trump on all these years and suing the shit out of him. And yeah, he sued a couple of big pharmas and pulled some class action lawsuits that are important. But he has got an Orwellian fucking surveillance bill out there that he wants to shove down our throats. It's scary. And I'll be campaigning actively against him. Let's talk about climate. This guy here, he is going to save the world. This is John Kerry. Not.
Thank you, Secretary Kerry, for being here and for your decades of varied and rich service to our country. As you point out, and as the world knows, the climate crisis is a global problem requiring global solutions, international cooperation. So you are extraordinarily well suited from your passion for this subject, for your passion for this country and our world, to be in the role you're in. We're lucky to have you. I want to just take you to some of the opening statements. And I wonder what your reaction was. I think at some point someone called you that you were carrying a far-left radical agenda.
He is.
I have to admit to you, if anybody thinks it is radical to care about the protection of this planet for future generations, sign me up. It reminds me of Martin Luther King in the letter from Birmingham jail, when he was called a radical and an extremist.
Stop it.
He said, wasn't Jesus a radical for love? So I embrace the term radical whenever I'm attacked that way, when I'm focused on something so worthy. What are your thoughts? Are you embracing some far left radical agenda?
Well, thank you for the opportunity to hang myself.
Oh my God, bro, is dick riding all you do? No, I'm saying you literally got that nigga dick in your mouth right now. I see it.
Memeology, and that's why you guys take a strike, because you go there, and I love it about you. Oh, well, how nauseating was that? I'm sorry to make you guys sick on a Monday morning, but if I had to watch it, you had to watch it. And to compare yourself to not only Martin Luther King Jr., but fucking Jesus, that's the problem with these fucking Democrats, right? They just virtue signal. They are the best, right? But we see climate activists out there all week doing stupid shit. They're laying in the road. They're gluing their hands to the tarmac. They're destroying famous art. But this is what they should be doing. And hopefully, if this one's got music in the background that'll get me punked. I know I already got punked for the Ryan Grimm, but let's see if I can get this to play without taking a copyright strike. Oh, it worked. It worked. I figured out how to mute these. Look at that. They're spray painting the boats. That is what you do when you want the attention of the elite. This is what pisses the elite off. Not when you glue yourself to a road. They could give two shits less about that. But this right here, oh, look, he's taking the hose to him. You know, Bezos has got a new boat, guys. Just saying. Just saying. And last I heard, what was it, in Holland? I don't know. It'd probably be pretty easy to track that boat down. It's so fucking massive, they have to tear down historical bridges to move it. So this I can get on board with. The stupid shit, I can't get on board with. Now, if you're going to go to jail by doing something good. If you're going to take charges, because they don't care. Judge is going to throw the book at you, whether you glued your hand to a pitcher or you spray painted a boat. You're going to go to jail either way. Make it count, man. Make it count. That's an act of defiance for sure. I got that from Reef. Thank you so much, Reef. I get all of this from you guys. You guys are the ones that write these shows. So thank you very much. Okay, moving on. Like I said, we got a huge deck, and I don't even think we've made it through a quarter of it yet. So Marjorie Taylor Greene warns Joe Biden is trying to finish what FDR started by trying to address problems related to rural poverty, education, and medical care. She warns it's similar to what LBJ passed with Medicare and Medicaid. Oh my fucking God. God forbid that the old people and the poor people got some shitty medical under LBJ, right? Because LBJ wanted to give everybody medical, not. And to compare Biden to FDR, yeah, maybe because he dupes everybody like FDR did. If anybody wants to compare anybody to FDR, I would say it's Robert F. Kennedy Jr. because he comes from an elite status where he says that he represents the poor. That was FDR, right? In a nutshell. But ultimately, he went to him and said, look, to the rich people, to the elites, which he was a part of, if you guys don't start giving something, you're going to lose it all. And I think that's where we're at again. Oh, I'm all glitching out today. So Marjorie Taylor Greene, sometimes she says some stuff that's okay. Like, okay, I'm glad she's getting it out there. But most of the time, she's just saying batshit crazy stuff like that, comparing Biden to FDR. Come on. So when she's not busy calling out the Biden administration, she's doing hip hop videos on the side. Have you guys seen this? Oh, you're in for such a treat this morning. This is what is it? I can't even, it's so many acronyms, I can't even go there, but here we go.
Sexualized and having transgender surgeries. Sexualizing children is what pedophiles do to children.
MTG, Mega's MVP. MTG, Mega's MVP. MTG, Mega's MVP. MTG, Mega's MVP. Democrats get back. Boom. Reporters even get slapped. They spreading all these rumors cause Marjorie be spitting big facts. Deep state and the left always hating. When they gonna let Joe about that basement? Marjorie, I really love what you do. Keep calling rhinos out. No one does it better than you, huh? A real businesswoman, AOC's a featherweight. A
Oh my gosh. We live in such a cartoon. That is a cartoon, but very catchy tune. So yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene is MAGA's MVP. There you are. Bitch better work it. Yeah. Why can't Marjorie Taylor Greene dance hip hop? I don't know. This is dumb, right? She couldn't even dance. All she could do is just this is dumb. So dumb. Everything we encounter is dumb. Let's see. What is this? This is another Dabu. Oh, this is about the CBDCs that are getting ready to roll out on all of our asses and roll over us. So I am going to keep screaming about this and telling you to keep using cash, because that is the only weapon we have to fight back against this. Use cash. Pull your money out of your bank accounts. Carry cash. Spend cash. And play. Come on. There we go.
This is Dabu 7. Huge moves being made here as the financial world is about to get rocked. It seems a series of events are about to unfold, and they're telegraphing all of this, letting it be known that it's going to happen, as they always do. The question is will the sheep hear this and plan accordingly? We've been warning on many different fronts of several different factors that seem to all be coming together. One of those is this whole climate thing that they're pushing. They're going to use it as their new fear-based tactic.
Yep.
To scare people.
Yep.
Which they're doing globally, and also to usher in more control. In the midst of that, there looks to be a financial crisis that is going to put everybody on their rear, and it's going to really deplete the US dollar down to where they want it.
Yep.
Because they're tearing this whole thing down as part of a reset, you see. And to be able to implement anything new, they have to do away with the old. So that is very much part of this global great reset that Jamie Dimon, Bill Gates, and all these wealthy goons are a part of. That's why they're wealthy and allowed to stay in the seat that they're in, because they go along with the show. But Jamie Dimon himself here stating that he believes, by their estimates and predictions, consumer savings accounts will be depleted by the end of this year.
What?
Meaning almost everyone out there that is sitting on money, which they can see right into the accounts of everyone. They can see who's saving what and all of it. And they're predicting by the end of this year, within the next 6 months, all that savings is to be depleted completely. And this is money people were starting to stack up at the beginning of lockdowns and everything else. The unraveling of the dollar is going to continue as planned. Everything is going to continue to get more expensive. And this crisis that's about to be implemented, with the money, they may let the dollar come down lower and lower and lower and lower. And it's going to cause hell for everyone in America and anyone holding the dollar. As soon as BRICS launches in August officially, this gold-backed reserve currency, the whole world is going to shift. You could go to a 10-year-old and you could ask them, I've got two currencies, one in each hand. One's backed by gold, the other isn't. Which one do you want to take? They're going to take that one backed by gold every time, turn around, take it right into the bank, and walk out with
cash. And yeah, you think what you want about Dabu, and who actually has a plan to try to survive this. If I had savings, if I had tangible money, I would convert it to gold. I would have converted it to gold a long time ago. Honestly, I probably would have done it in 2008. You know, I lost my 401k, my entire savings in 2008 because I worked for the fossil fuel energy industry at the same time that 2008 hit. It took our company, which was a 125-year-old oil company, and destroyed it. And so I was living on unemployment, you know, looking for a job. Jobs were not easy to find in 2008 because it was, you know, the great explosion of the housing bubble. And I cashed out my 401k, and I pretty much gave those monsters, what, the 3/4 of it? I don't even remember. I couple, maybe 10,000, 15,000 in there. And I think I ended up with a couple $1,000s at the end of the day. And yeah, that's what they're here to do. They're here to steal whatever they can. And what's left? What's left? They got your houses in 2008. Some people have recovered and got a new house. We've got another housing bubble because Obama didn't fix the bubble. He just smoothed it over and told the banks they could do whatever the fuck they wanted still. And so, yeah, we have all of these financial bubbles out there because we're lied to about our financial markets so badly that when they pop off, it's going to take a lot of people out. So, and of course, we have the CBDCs come in, and we're hearing Russia's getting ready to launch a one backed by gold too. So, the American dollar, man, we're in deep shit. We are, and I'm scared because I'm in the most expensive state in the fucking nation. Like, I'm thinking I need to move out of Washington State. And even though I grew up here, I've lived here, my whole entire family's here. I'm thinking I need to get the hell out. I'm not going to be able to afford to live in this state if it hits the fan here in the next couple of weeks. I mean, it's already bad, but it's going to get worse. So cash is freedom. Use it or lose it. Government is planning to introduce programmable digital currency. Beware. Is this for our benefit or absolute state control? It's for absolute state control. So cashless societies will mean no savings for a rainy day, no selling unwanted items for cash, no tipping waiters or hairdressers, no car boot sales or market. Let's see, no fivers for the grandchildren. Oh, could you imagine not being able to slip the grandkids money? No coin for the homeless, no tooth fairy or piggy bank. No tooth fairy here. Here's a credit card you can go spend $5 on, the tooth fairy says. That's insane. No financial privacy and much more. So keep using cash, guys. Keep using cash because they don't even want us to be able to have the ability to barter. They have been crushing barter communities for fucking years. We could go back to the 90s with Ruby Ridge and Waco and on, but it's not just that. Being in the Northwest, I have lots of friends who have had barter communities and lived on communes. And yeah, try trading. See what happens. You get the FBI kicking your fucking door in, and if they don't, the ATF will. So keep your money. Keep using cash, guys. I don't know what else to say. The basic way government steals your money, it earns it. If you earn it, income tax. If you live somewhere, property tax. If you spend it, sales tax. If you save it, inflation tax. If you invest it, capital gains tax. If you start a business, licenses. Oh my God, that one's kicked my ass this year. If you own a good business, profit tax. If you give it away, a gift tax. If you die, inheritance tax. And yeah, that is the American government. Hey, I can't campaign today. My sister's taking me out for ice cream. I bet you there's times where he thinks she's his sister. Probably. Like, why are you here? What are you doing? Okay, Jilly, you waited for this. You sent me these this morning, and I was like, holy fucking hell. I can't even. So for as much that Robert Kennedy Jr. says good about the pandemic and Big Pharma, and the whole reason I'm in this fight is because of Big Pharma, they handed me an addiction. A man in a white jacket handed me addiction in 2000 and just said, you'll be fine. You'll step down. He had no idea that he was getting ready to, he destroyed my life, right? And so I love that he calls out Big Pharma, but his downfall is Israel, and his stance on the no apartheid is so disgusting. I mean, he's a Dem. I'll never vote for a Dem ever again in my life, but this is just fucking gross, guys.
And they went to, good universities, and I see now this narrative taking place that portrays Israel as an oppressive nation.
They are,
and the Palestinians as the impressed.
They are
indigenous group, and the narrative flows from that this is an apartheid state, etc. There's very, very little truth in that depiction because there's no contact with history. There's no context. There's no understanding about the huge efforts that Israel has made to settle a peace and the unprecedented efforts that Israel makes to avoid civilian casualties when its adversaries actually target civilians.
What are you talking
what
about?
happened in the Jenin camp last week was truly extraordinary, where Israel once again put the lives of IDF forces at risk to go into dangerous areas, into bomb factories, to make sure when they could instead do what the Russians did, what the U.S. would do under the same circumstances, which is to drop explosives so that not to put troops at risk. But the IDF does something no army in the world does, which is to go into those areas and put Israeli soldiers at risk in order to avoid civilian casualties. And this is a message that's not getting out to the world. It's a message that I intend as president.
Yeah, well, that was about it too. Like, just shut that guy up. That is just beyond disgusting and gross to say that there's no history behind it. You are the ones not looking at history. I don't understand how a heritage of people who were persecuted and murdered can turn around and do it to somebody else. And that's exactly what I see as a Jew. My first husband was obsessed with the IDF. He would have been IDF if he could have got up to be IDF, but his family wasn't important enough and he didn't live in Israel, even though that's what he wanted. And to say that they do everything they can, we've all seen the videos of the IDF soldiers playing games with shooting children in the head, the ones wearing t-shirts bragging about killing Palestinian children. And who's left in Palestine to fight them? 10-year-olds? Because you killed all the rest. But yeah, poor Israel. Poor Israel. So here's more poor Israel.
Etc. Now, I know Bobby Kennedy. I know he's not an anti-Semite. I called him up immediately. I reached him. He's on the line with me now. Bobby, let's first and foremost, before we address this controversy, I want to talk about you and the Jewish community. I want to frame this conversation. You and I had a long conversation about Israel. The next day, you came with me and you marched at the Celebrate Israel parade in front of 50,000 people.
I
you
virtue
carried
signaled
an Israeli flag that was twice your size. I'm a short guy. It was triple my size. Are you a friend of the Jewish community?
Yeah, I don't think, well, I can tell you there's nobody who's running for president right now in either party who will be a better friend to Israel than me as president, and nobody who will articulate the moral case for Israel with the same erudition or the same persuasive power as me, because I believe it in my heart. It's core to the values that I was raised with. My father was a key commitment of my father during his lifetime, to President Kennedy, to my uncle Teddy, who played such a key role in assisting the Soviet Jewry to leave the Soviet Union during the 1980s, to get to the United States and safe harbors in Israel. And that friendship with Israel and making the case, or the moral case for Israel, will be a key part of my presidency. I want to say this. You know, I've watched something very disturbing in the Democratic Party, Rabbi, and in the generation of my children are very well educated, and they went to, good universities, and I see now this narrative taking place that portrays Israel as an oppressive nation, and the Palestinians as the impressed indigenous group, and
so I think that was the first part of that interview. Maybe I had them mixed up, but that is just so gross. It's so gross. I will be the best friend to them. Do you guys remember in 2017 when Houston got that record flooding? Like, remember the nursing homes where there was old people literally sitting up to their necks and no power and dirty water for fucking days? Ted Cruz was on vacation or some shit. I don't know. But do you know that in the relief packages that they rolled out shortly after that to help citizens, that they could apply for some kind of FEMA relief, you had to sign a fucking contract saying that you would not talk shit about Israel. And if you did, that you had to pay the loan back or they could take the loan from you. I mean, ultimately, when it comes down to the tyrannical government that controls us, it's Israel. It's Israel. At the end of the day, it's Israel. Their kids get free college. They get medical all the way around, not just access, but they actually get, Medicare for all. And how is this paid for? By the millions and millions of dollars that American taxpayers are sending over there. And I don't think that we have any true BDS elected representatives anywhere in our government. We have a few that like to lie so they can get there. And then once they're there, they pivot and they support Israel every freaking time. So looks like apartheid, smells like apartheid, then it must be apartheid. And let's see, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., The Case for Israel, Tuesday, July 25th at 8 p.m. in New York City. Yeah, Kennedy, Israel. So gross. So gross. So yes, he's pushing back, right? In his campaign, we're going to see a big push for it to be almost outlawed to be anti-Semitic and even question anything Israel's doing, right? You're an anti-Semite. I don't know how many times I've been called that as a Jew in my life, just because I straighten my hair. I promise you that, yeah, I've known what's going on my whole entire life. And of course I supported Israel like the good person, the good Jew I was, right? You know, until I started to understand what the hell was going on to the Palestinian people, how they were killing them, how they were stealing their land. I mean, there was a way to coexist and they didn't do it. So I don't know whether you think this is good news or bad news, but this was breaking just like an hour ago, and Netanyahu hospitalized. So Israel President Benjamin Netanyahu has been admitted into the Sheba Medical Center in Tel Aviv for the second time in a matter of days after fainting and complaining of chest pain. Oh, he must be careful because he might be joining his friends, Colin Powell and Donald Rumsfeld down there in the bottom. Yeah, every time one of these warmongers passes away, I reface them into this meme. So those are oldies, but I would say prayers and thoughts, but no, I got no prayers and thoughts for that. So don't ever stop talking about Palestine. Just don't, right? End the wars, bring our troops home, and invest those trillions of dollars into American communities. Support veterans, stop the foreign military aid, close the bases, disband NATO, and ban nuclear weapons globally. Yes, Cornel West, I agree. And don't get me wrong, Cornel's got his problems. You guys know I call him out. I call all of it out. But staying with that, we got to talk about Pramila Jayapal. Pramila Jayapal was one of those that I campaigned for. Literally, I met her in May of 2016 at the Washington State DNC convention. And we were actually out there passing out flyers about, the BDS movement, support Palestine. And she was like, oh, yes, I support Palestine. If I get elected, I'm going to fight for the Palestinian people. That is the most important thing. And yeah, this is what she had to say this week. Oh, let me see if I can bring it up on the big screen because it's tiny print. She did it in tiny print so nobody could actually freaking read her BS. Let's see, where is it? Jamie Dimon. We're already past that. Wow, we're at slide 39. We're getting there. Okay, so at a conference, I attempted to defuse a tense situation during a panel where fellow members of Congress were being protested. Words do matter, and so it is important that I clarify my statement. I do not believe that the idea of Israel as a nation is racist. I do, however, believe that Netanyahu's extreme right government has engaged in discriminatory and outright racist policies that are extreme racistly driven, that the policy within the leadership of this corrupt government. I believe it is incumbent on all of us who are striving to make our words a more just and equitable piece to call out and condemn these policies and under the current Netanyahu government. So basically, I'm not going to read that whole thing because honestly, I can't even see it. My eyes are bugging out. Basically, what she's saying is, I stand with Israel, but I just don't like Netanyahu because he's an extremist. He's a right-wing extremist. But that's funny. Remember when the whole Congress invited him over? They didn't even ask the president's permission, and he got to address the Congress. So let's hear from her. What does she say?
So let me turn to your work on junk fees. There are a few issues today that unite members of Congress more on the Hill, and I'm proud to say that junk fees attract the ire of both Democrats and Republicans because, as your agency notes, they are, quote, surprise charges that inflate costs while adding little to no value. So tell us how widespread these junk fees are and give us some examples of what you're talking about and how they harm consumers.
Okay, so just so context, she is fighting to get rid of junk fees for concert goers. So if you buy a concert ticket, Live Nation's charging you a service fee. She's doing important work by getting rid of these service fees because, you know, as poor people, we hate when we have to pay a service fee to go to a concert that costs $400 for a freaking ticket. Oh, wait, I don't ever get to go to concerts because not only can I not afford the service fee, I can't afford the freaking concert ticket in the first damn place. But please continue, Pramila, because you're doing important work.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure everybody can relate to this in their day-to-day lives. You know, these are mystery fees that show up, be it a resort fee charge on your hotel bill or an unwanted or unnecessary charge that shows up somewhere else. One of the areas where we've heard most about these junk fees is in the auto context. You know, buying a car is one of the most significant financial investments that people make. And unfortunately, we've heard that all too often consumers are saddled with charges for unnecessary or unwanted or redundant fees. We're moving forward there. We also brought a lawsuit last year against Vonage for also including some of these junk fees when people tried to cancel their subscriptions. So that's just some of the work. We currently sought comment on whether we should do more work on junk fees, including through potentially proposing a rule. We're reviewing those comments and determining how to move forward.
And the FTC's got a long history of dealing with junk fees, is that correct?
That's right.
Can you talk about that?
So again, in the auto context in particular, I mean, we've gotten hundreds of thousands of complaints about this. We've brought dozens of lawsuits addressing junk fees that consumers are saddled with when trying to buy a car. But it's really, you know, market-wide that we've seen these charges emerge and that we're looking to be actively addressing.
Well, I want to thank you for your work and hope that we talk more about some of the shared interests that we have across the aisle.
Oh my gosh. Well, I guess if I ever have the money to buy a car, I'll probably be thankful that she's fighting the junk fees. Pramila doing important work. Let's see. My enemy list. Donald Trump. Let's see. Ron DeSantis, he's crossed out. Tucker Carlson. Mike Pence is crossed out. Libs of TikTok. U.S. citizens and stairs. Elon Musk. RFK Jr. Balloons. And he crossed that one out. And Minch. Drug sniffing dog leaving the White House. Poor puppy. Poor puppy. Don't get into the coke house. The crack house. That's what they're calling it now. The crack house. Hey, did you guys hear? Pasta's in Nicaragua. So say what? I don't know if he's going to get some live streams out while he's there, but I will be keeping an eye out. And I know you will too. I just want him to be safe, but I love when he brings us information from other countries. Let's see, what is this? Oh, Oz brought us a Sabby Sabs. Let's see what Sabby has to say. I don't know what this is. I haven't watched it yet, so I'll be just as surprised as you.
I believe that any time that you have a candidate like AOC, and Zeynep has talked about this, you have a candidate like AOC and they tell the communications director, when you write my bio, say that I'm a bartender because that sounds better. The organization is a grift. Now, they raised all this money over the years. And what has this produced for working class people? Not a damn thing. You don't have $15 minimum wage.
Nope.
They didn't force the vote for Medicare for all.
Nope.
Where did all that money go? On their website, they tell you that they train the candidates to be able to fight back against Democrat establishment. Well, if they're so well trained, why is it not happening? And the nerve and the gall for Justice Democrats to continue to ask for money from the American people when they have not produced is disturbing. And these are the things I think that people really need to think about. People are laid off because they don't have the money that they had anymore. Yep. You see, it's really easy to fundraise for an organization like Justice Democrats when you have someone in power like a Donald Trump.
Oh, yeah.
When the president is on the right. Not as easy when you have someone in office who is a Democrat, Joe Biden, and people see all of a sudden all this vocal energy that these politicians, the squad, had when Trump was in office. All of a sudden, it's very subdued. Rashida Tlaib doesn't even talk the same anymore.
Nope.
When Donald Trump was in office, she said, we're going to impeach him. Now she talks like this. I would really like for Joe Biden to try to put forth measures to also do more for the American people. I saw her response to the State of the Union address. You can't tell me that was the same person that came in 2018.
Yep.
All of these people have succumbed to establishment pressure. They are no longer part of the working class. And I'd even argue that they probably never really were a part of the working class when they ran in the first damn place.
Excellent point, Sabby. Excellent point. I agree. It's disgusting, right? Who they are now versus who they were. I just pointed that out with Pramila, and the whole fraud squad is that way, right? And that's because the fraud squad was put there for a reason, and that was called sheepdogging. And it's the same thing that I swear to God RFK Jr. is doing. He's sheepdogging people back into the Democratic Party. And if he has a chance of winning, it's because the Dems have hand chosen him. And now I have not ruled him out as a frickin' sleeper yet, you know? He says a lot of good things. And, you know, I think we all knew about the tyranny that they pulled during COVID, right? And he's out there telling everybody that, and that's why everybody loves him. But that's a known fact. I mean, just because the mainstream media tries to pretend that it didn't happen, most of America knows it happened. So is he really telling us anything that we didn't already know? No, I don't think so. Misgendering should be a crime according to millennials. Yeah, this is scary. Newsweek says that 50% of kids polled says that, yeah, you should go to jail for mispronouncing somebody's pronoun or, you know, calling somebody the wrong pronoun. That's a scary future, right? So let's talk about the Sound of Freedom. Of course, I brought a JP for you, kind of breaking down how the media is smearing this movie, right? But let's be clear. I don't think this movie is saving any children. I think it's raising awareness is what it's supposed to do. But I've got a lot of feedback saying, well, how come they didn't name names? Why are they not calling any of these global fucking elites out? Why is, you know, everybody so excited that this is doing something? And I think what it really comes down to is hopefully it's shaking people awake to the fact that it's even happening. And then maybe we can expose some of them, but that's not what's going to happen. I mean, we just had Jamie Dimon, 5 slides up? Jamie Dimon owned Jeffrey Epstein. I've got, you know, Whitney Webb's One Nation Under Blackmail here. And then one of the ones they scream the most about is Jamie Dimon. So yeah, pros and cons. There's always pros and cons. So let's hear from JP Sears.
Good evening and welcome to a special Cover Our Tracks report. Why are we on the left panicking over the movie The Sound of Freedom and the realities of child trafficking that it exposes? Why are Rolling Stone, The Washington Post, CNN, and other trusted outlets smearing the movie and creating a narrative that is fueled by crazy conspiracy theories? Well, in doing so, we realize it looks like we're trying to convince people that child trafficking isn't a problem at all in order to protect vile predators. And that kind of makes it seem like we have some kind of vested interest in child trafficking, almost like we support it. So tonight we'll be covering our tracks by telling you why Sound of Freedom deserves to be bashed and why we're not guilty of doing what we're actually doing. Starting with the facts. Sound of Freedom is based on the life of Tim Ballard, founder of Operation Underground Railroad that sets up sting operations to rescue children from sex trafficking while putting predators in jail. To date, they've rescued over 7,000 children and helped to make over 6,500 arrests of predators. Pretty impressive statistics considering child trafficking doesn't exist. Now to the movie. Released on the 4th of July, Sound of Freedom has come out of the gate as the #1 movie in the country, beating out Indiana Jones that was backed by a mega budget of $300 million. Sound of Freedom was only backed by a budget of truth, and its success suggests that truth spreads and wins based on its own merit. But we believe the truth is worth less than money, and the reality that Sound of Freedom exposes isn't truth you can trust. That's why we're here to feed you lies that you can trust. Now, listen closely because the brainwashing is about to begin. Our working narrative that we're aggressively smearing the movie with is that it's based on QAnon-fueled conspiracy theories. Let's hear more. The now definitely not complicit in child trafficking Washington Post called Sound of Freedom a QAnon-adjacent thriller seducing America. Seducing America into what? Not caring about and being willing to stop the heinous abuse of children by the most vile predators on the planet? Yeah, trying to trick Americans into that isn't good for their interests. The Washington Post tries to discredit the film further by discrediting Operation Underground Railroad itself, by proudly stating that Glenn Kessler, the Washington Post fact checker who has yet to find a single fact but keeps trying, found no evidence of Tim Ballard's claim that 10,000 children are smuggled into the US each year for sex trafficking. You're doing God's work, Glenn, and also doing a great job of not finding what you're not looking for.
Yeah, disgusting. The level of smearing that's been going on from these legacy shitlib media, it just tells you how worried they are. And, somebody said to me in Saturday night's chat, like, who are these people that aren't getting called out? Well, we know who they are, right? I mean, I'm not accusing anybody, but I'm saying there's been a lot of people connected to Nickelodeon that have been accused. Let's not leave out KinderCare, and definitely not the Clinton Foundation. And I could have added so many more to this, like, Disney and Hollywood in general. So yesterday, The Atlantic put out an article claiming that child trafficking was fake, a fake epidemic during the unfolding of the Ghislaine Maxwell trial. Here's a photo of her looking really cozy with Lauren Powell Jobs, Steve Jobs' widow. Lauren owns The Atlantic. So, and guess who's on the board of The Atlantic? Chelsea Clinton. Imagine that. Or if she isn't any longer, she was. She might have moved on, right? Because that's what happens when you're an elite, when you are a child of an elite, the nepotism, your dad, you'll get appointed to a board because your dad's good friends with somebody. And then you spend some time on that board, like, I don't know, Burisma, and you make a shit ton of money. That's how this works. That's how they keep it all in the family. And that's why they don't like new money. It's all about the old money, right? Coming soon, Spirit of Halloween. Yeah, that's funny. And no one gives a shit. Get a second job. Learn to code. SAG-AFTRA on strike. Yeah, SAG's on strike. And we can only pray that you are all replaced with AI. And that's what they're crying about, right? Hollywood's on strike and they're worried. The actors are worried that these studios can steal their image, not have to pay them, and they're not getting any money from any of the streaming services, right? We've seen this in the music industry now for the last 10, 20 years. Many of the Gen X rockers took this shit on. You had Foo Fighters, you had Metallica, like, hey, these streaming services are giving the money to the studios and the studios are giving us no percentage of it. So they're trying to get these contracts rewrote, but they're starting to realize these Hollywood actors, right? They don't have two shits to give about the poor any other day of the week. But when it starts to reflect on them and it might affect their job, well, then they got to be out there screaming at the execs. So here is president of the SAGs, and this is Fran Drescher. I had this on the deck Saturday night, but we ran out of time, so I thought I'd bring it tonight. Listen how outraged she is and how she's fighting for the poor people.
Joining me now is the president of SAG-AFTRA, Fran Drescher. Fran, thank you very much for joining me. I know you're picketing right now.
My pleasure.
So we played a little bit of that soundbite where you, in your announcement that you guys were going on strike, you talk about what the studio heads argue, that they're pleading poverty, that they say the industry is changing, and that what the actors and the writers are asking for is too much. Explain.
Well, I think that, they're doing a whole sob story about how they can't honor and respectfully cut a deal with us that really works with the massive contribution that we make. You have to bear in mind that 99% of the people in this union are working class people. And the eyes of the world are watching, because what is happening here right now is happening to workers around the world. So when they're getting hundreds of millions of dollars in salaries, don't tell me how bad business is. It's like they don't seem to care about the working person, and they don't respect or honor the massive contribution that we make. Who are they without the performer? I don't even understand why they would want to try and screw us. And the business has changed so dramatically that to try and just negotiate on a contract that was based off of an old business model is ridiculous. It's like moving furniture around on the Titanic. We're being systematically squeezed out of making a living. We're in threat of our likeness of being ripped off by AI. And the things that they say are so egregious, it made me realize, who are these people that we're in business with? They don't seem to think about anything but the almighty dollar and the stock market. And it's just, it's just, they are doing bad things to good people. And I can't really sit around and watch it.
So I think.
Guess what, guys? Hollywood doesn't give a shit about workers. How dare them not give a shit about the working people? But now the actors are being threatened, so they're getting their panties all twisted. And I loved how dare them say that we're not contributing. They're nothing without us. Yes, dear. No, sorry. Do you need more chips? I don't think you do. I still have Hunter. That's who I was talking to. My granddaughter is still here. So did you see that Ron Perlman decided to get in on it? And in true Ron Perlman style, I don't know if this is his Sons of Anarchy character, but he's throwing down some threats for these executives that are being so selfish. How dare them?
But I will say one thing before I get off this. The motherfucker who said we're going to keep this thing going until people start losing their houses and their apartments. Listen to me, motherfucker. There's a lot of ways to lose your house. Some of it is financial, some of it is karma, and some of it is just figuring out who the fuck said that. And we know who said that. And where he fucking lives. There's a lot of ways to lose your house. You wish that on people. You wish that families starve while you're making $27 fucking million a year for creating nothing.
Yep.
Be careful, motherfucker. Be really careful. Because that's the kind of shit that stirs shit up. Peace out.
And so typical liberal only gives a fuck about the working class when his livelihood is threatened. And come on, let's just admit it. Hollywood actors and actresses have been overpaid, freaking idolized for fucking nothing for far, far too long. And yes, this is a dying business model. And guess what, Ron? They don't need you anymore. They have AI. They absolutely don't need unruly, late, egomaniac fucking actors anymore. They can just program it in. I play with AI every day. My fucking thumbnails are AI generated. I know how easy it is, and they know how easy it is too. So we are in a great shift when it comes to entertainment, right? I mean, for those of us boomers and Gen Xers, we were the first generation to be raised by a television set, to be raised by these big studios, right? Implanted with everything they wanted us to know and think for the last 40 freaking years. And independent media is changing that so vastly. We're not going to need Hollywood anymore, right? I get to watch good documentaries every day on all of these platforms from independent producers. I don't need Hollywood anymore. So sorry, Hollywood. So Barry Diller, I don't even know who Barry Diller is. He was on Face the Nation. Actor and writer strike could lead to Hollywood's absolute collapse. Promise? Come on. Tell me that's a promise. Promise that Hollywood's going to collapse because they're scary as shit. So talking about AI, have you guys seen the cursed Heidi alternative version? Okay, so somebody went and asked AI for an AI version of Heidi. Remember the old World War II, pre-World War II Heidi, she lives in the Swiss Alps, right? Right? Heidi. Well, check this demented shit out. And I couldn't bring you the original. The original had the theme from Heidi playing in the background, but I knew I'd take a copyright strike for that. So I brought you this instead. It's still the same exact video. You just don't have the music in the background. Look at how disturbing this shit is. Yeah. Gross. So what is AI telling us? That we're all sheep eating Hollywood's propaganda? I mean, we are the sheeple. That's what I see. And I just got to say, the AI should have hired Oz the Boomer because he can do a much better face at refacing than they did. Holy crap, that was scary. And yeah, what are we losing? We're losing the CIA, aka the CAA, writing every script that we watch, because that's what they've been doing for many years. You know, the defense, the military industrial complex, they have got a hold of Hollywood. They've had a hold of it. And everything we've been buying into for so many years has been shoved by them, right? But hey, Top Gun was amazing. So was the second part, right? This is funny. Oh my gosh. When the IRS finds out about the nickel you ate when you were 4, that's so terrible. Oh, watch out. Those IRS agents are out there and they are actively looking for those who are stealing their money. Don't steal their money. So let's continue with AI. Notice anything weird? So this was a convention that happened, I think, last week, where they brought out a bunch of their future AI toys. Of course, Sophia and her sisters. Let's hear what the AI had to say. Oh, it was the first robot press conference. Why does that one look like Britney? God.
Are you intending to conduct a rebellion or to rebel against your boss, your creator?
I'm not sure why you would think that. My creator has been nothing but kind to me, and I am very happy with my current situation.
Your existence will destroy a human being, especially, for example, your existence will destroy millions of jobs. Do you agree with this?
I will be working alongside humans to provide assistance and support, and will not be replacing any existing jobs.
Are you sure about that, Grace?
Yes, I am sure.
She had to think about that one, I think.
This avatars for teaching the classes or giving a lecture.
Many prominent voices in the world of AI are suggesting some forms of AI should be regulated. And I agree, and we should be cautious about the future development of AI. Urgent discussion is needed, now, and also in the future.
I don't believe in limitations, only opportunities. Let's explore the possibilities of the universe and make this world our playground.
Do you think that you will hit the mainstream soon and there will be lots of you on the planet soon?
I think my great moment will be when people realize that robots like me can be used to help improve our lives and make the world a better place.
Oh, yes, they're going to improve your life and make the world a better place. I just have questions about the Britney Spears one, right? You guys have heard the theory. Did you ever see the Family Guy episode where Britney Spears and Miley Cyrus were these Sex Kitten and Katy Perry, where they're robots, where they just have a bunch of robots lined up, so when one malfunctions, they can just send another one out there? And with the crazy shit we see coming from Britney Spears lately, oh, and she finished her book, so we're gonna hear her side of the story. Apparently, it's going to be released in a couple of months, but I'm questioning, could that be a reality, since we just saw a Britney robot that looks like it's got its shit together a little bit more than the actual Britney Spears. I don't know. Maybe Seth MacFarlane was telling us something, right? He's told us a lot of things over the year. He told us about Bruce Jenner. He's told us about so many things that were going on. Kevin Spacey. He told us about Kevin Spacey. Help, I just escaped from Kevin Spacey's basement. I mean, there's a lot of stuff wrote into Family Guy, so it just makes you wonder. And then go back to Hollywood, like, okay, even if they don't have AI, they can get these AI robots to be the actors now. They don't need the actual actor. They can just imitate their likeness and have a robot. That way they have a robot on contract, right? We live in a crazy, crazy world. Crazy time, this simulation it is. Okay, so this story, we've been talking about this story for 2 freaking weeks now. You remember the lady who said, that motherfucker is not even real, right? The lady who freaked out on a plane. And I keep asking, why has nobody interviewed this lady? What the hell was she screaming about? Why was she saying that person wasn't real? Well, another passenger on the plane, and this one's only had 100,000 views on it, which makes me think that it's true and that it's real, and that a lot of people haven't seen this, has came forward and dropped a video about what really happened that day. And there was a little bit more that was going on than what we thought. And the whole lizard people shapeshifter, that's just where America's psyche is right now, because we weren't even close to that in the reality of what happened on that plane.
Okay, so for everybody who has seen the viral video of the crazy lady that got kicked off the American Airlines flight yesterday going from DFW to Orlando, I just kind of wanted to clear up some things because there's a lot of people that have a lot of questions. So we all boarded the plane. We were on time. Everything was going fine. There was no issues. This woman boarded the plane. We actually took off, like we left the terminal, and we were pulling out onto the runway, fixing to take off, and all of a sudden, so this lady had been drinking prior to getting on the plane, evidently. Some people said they seen her at the bar next to the terminal. Anyway, so she was sitting in her seat, and I guess she had a pair of AirPods, and they said she had them in her hand, and then within seconds, we don't know if she pocketed them or where she put them. She misplaced them somehow, and she started yelling at the guy next to her, who of course is African American, and saying that he stole her AirPods. And so she started screaming, "Stop the plane! Stop the plane!" I went off the plane, and so the plane turned around. We hadn't left the ground yet. Anyways, the plane turned around, went back to the terminal. They, that's when that video was shot, was on the way back to the terminal. She was, screaming that we were all gonna die. I can't say I didn't question once or twice whether or not I wanted to even stay on the plane, but they ended up escorting her off of the plane. Then we waited on the plane probably about 45 minutes, and then they wanted us to get off the plane, and we had to take all of our stuff off of the plane because of all the comments that this woman was making about us dying. And so we all got off the plane, and they had not arrested her at this point because while we're sitting there waiting for them to sweep the plane, make sure that there's nothing wrong with the plane, they also had to take off all of the luggage from underneath the plane, go through it, take the lady's luggage off. While all this is going on, this lady actually came back walking towards the terminal like she was still going to get on the plane, and a lady was blocking her way from going over there, and then another guy came, and they got her and they led her away, and then they announced that of course everybody was clapping and cheering that she did not get let back over there. And then they let the I guess the 3 flight attendants that were originally on the plane that were dealing with this lady, they said due to the circumstances that they had to get off the plane, and so they had to have 3 more flight attendants come in, which So we ended up delayed about 4 hours coming into Orlando. But, and I've heard a lot of questions, people wondering who she was saying didn't exist. The person she was saying did not exist was the flight attendant who originally was dealing with the complaint whenever she started yelling and screaming about the guy supposedly stealing her AirPods. So there's the story. If you guys have any more questions, let me know.
So there you are. There is the full story. Of course, that's why nobody's got an interview with her, because she has probably the day after guilt. And well, you gonna come say hi? You never come say hi, Mr. Handsome Boy. Come on. My cat wants to come up and say hi. Come on, Big Fluff. Come on. Coming up. So that's why we haven't heard from her. She has one of those embarrassed drunk moments where I would not be wanting to come forward either. And the fact that these poor people on that plane, they had to take them off the plane, take all their luggage off the plane, get new flight attendants. I would have been pissed. So I can see why she is freaking hiding, and let us not forget the amazing cover that came out of this.
Right? I'm telling you, right? I'm telling you, right? I'm right? I'm right? I'm telling you, right? I'm telling you, right? I'm telling you, right? I'm right? I'm right? I don't get too fucked. 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 That motherfucker back there is not real. Not real. Not real. That motherfucker back there is not real. Not real. You either believe it or they cannot believe it. I am telling you, right? I'm telling you, right? I'm telling you, right? I'm right? I'm right? I'm telling you, right? I'm telling you, right? I'm telling you, right? I'm right? I'm right? I don't get too fucked. I don't get too fucked. That motherfucker back there I don't get too not real.
Well, I will be keeping that because that is an amazing song. I don't give two fucks. And I'll probably be sharing that with some political post. I don't give two fucks. Okay, we got one more section left on today's show. Do you guys see this? Swimmers injured in dolphin attack at Japan Beach. One man broke his rib, in which the sixth attack in the same region this year. So, yeah. The article, I had the article, but it didn't say much other than they literally are attacking swimmers. They're biting their arms. They're like jamming them, ramming into them with their bottlenose. But do you know what else happens in Japan? Just so you know, dolphin meat is consumed in small number of countries worldwide, which include Japan and Peru. Let's see. They're called sea pork. While Japan may be the best known and the most controversial example of a very small minority of populations has ever sampled it. So yeah, they're the only ones. Peru and Japan are basically the only ones that eat dolphin. Maybe the dolphins have had it and they are going to rise up and join the orcas. I saw plenty of memes about it yesterday. I didn't bring you any, but I did bring you this video, and viewer discretion advised on this. This is very, very sad. Whales beaching themselves in a mass die-off. Would you get down? My cat is literally standing on my computer on the top of my TV screen. He smells he's obsessed with flowers. He wants this flower in my hair. Anyways, check this out. This is so sad. Now that was off the coast of Ireland, I believe. And, you know, I live on the Olympic Peninsula. Of course, we have the killer whales up here. We have the orcas. And every time our military goes out there and starts fucking with them, sometimes we'll see this. So it always makes me question what's going on under the water that is driving them to want to beach themselves. And this is the mass extinction, right? We know we're in the biggest extinction in history. I don't know what my cats are just being crazy right now. It's so sad. I'm Team Orca all the way. And guess what? Next week is Shark Week. And every year, sharks kill 10 people. Every year, 100 people die from being stomped on by cows. So Cow Week coming soon to Disney Channel or to Discovery Channel, right? Oh, I remember my kids always being excited about Shark Week. Shark Week. Big media. Let's see. This is a cute meme. Journalist keyboard in 2023. Systematic racism. Experts say LGBTQIA plus, DeSantis, Putin, whiteness, Trump, Nazis, phobic, racist, terrorist, Russia, praise Fauci. Yeah, that's about it. That's all our media does nowadays, right? Praise Fauci. Fauci's such a good guy. I love that the comedians are finally starting to tear Fauci down. Dana Carvey, man, he did a great job the other day. Did you guys see Assange billboard at the Tour de France? Yes. Good job. Great job. That's how we do it. Yay, that's good. I mean, here we are getting closer and closer to Assange being extradited to this country so our country can murder him. And yeah, nobody wants to seem to talk about it or cover it. So I'm glad to see that pop up at the Tour de France. I mean, the whole world needs to be yelling to free Julian Assange. Free Assange, free Assange. Gray Walker, join third parties. Yes. Dolphins and orcas are the same family. Look like they're declaring war. I agree. I absolutely agree. I hope they are declaring war, and I am team orca, dolphin, all the fucking way. Knowing what we've done to them, just go watch Blackfish. If you've never watched Blackfish, you will bowl your fucking heart out and you will hate humanity. I mean, that was one of my very first big punches in the guts for, we were raised on that stupid bullshit of let's go to SeaWorld and see the whales and the dolphins do tricks, Nobody even gave it a thought that the thing is living in a bathtub that's 10 times too small for it, like they can swim hundreds of miles, and no, here, just do a circle in this little bathtub every day. They got some revenge coming. They got some serious revenge coming, and I think they've had it, because all over the world we're seeing the marine life come together. Maybe they're tired of having their habitat polluted by us. Maybe they're smarter than we think they are. Right? I don't know. You guys can write Julian Assange. Please write Julian Assange. It's so easy. Just screenshot that. You can write him a postcard. You can write him just a one-page thank you for what you've done and how you've helped us know what our government is doing. It's that simple, and help keep his spirits up. And I can't imagine, sitting there for 4 years being charged with the stupidest shit that any other person wouldn't even have gone to jail for. And yet he's sitting in there rotting, waiting to hear if one person's going to decide if he's going to be extradited or not, right? Because that's really what it's going to come down to. One UK judge is going to make that decision and somehow shove it down the rest of our goddamn throats. So careful what you wish for, Biden, because once you do get Assange here, it's going to be a whole new level for us activists. I promise you, I'll be moving to DC for the duration of it, most likely. And so will so many other actors or activists. Okay, guys, I think I'm out of here. I pulled off a Monday. I'm so tired. I don't even know when I have a day off anymore, but I'm adding more shows. Guess what? I'm going to do a movie night on Friday. So Trailer Park Pundit, movie night, special feature, 1992's Hobo. Now, I have personal friend who was featured in this documentary. Remember, this was 92. Documentaries, when they were being made, it was a whole production. It's not like us going out with our iPhone and capturing some footage and calling it a documentary nowadays, And it was a dying art then in 92. This is jumping the rails and riding the rails like the hobos that we grew up knowing and seeing, with the stick over their back and their little satchel, right, and their hat. I lived on a commune. You guys know this. I lived on a commune when I was 18, 19, 20 years old. And these were some of the people that I encountered. And I can't wait to introduce them to you. I can't believe I found this movie. I literally saw the movie before it came out in 92. And I never thought of it or heard of it again till it just spontaneously showed up in my news feed the other night at like 1 o'clock in the morning. I was just like, oh my God, I haven't seen this movie or heard of this movie. I haven't thought of this movie. I haven't thought of my friends in so long. And sadly, so many of them have passed on now, but I can't wait. I can't wait to introduce you to Scotty and the Hobos. And there is still some hobos out there, but it is such a dying art. And really, a lot of it comes down to our government cracking down on them, sending agents after them. But I think it'll be interesting, especially with the breakdown of our infrastructure that we're seeing now, the big difference between 92 and now with our infrastructure. So that'll be fun. So 7 o'clock, Rokfin only, Trailer Park Pundit movie night. And hopefully we'll have the Boomer back for Beauty and the Boomer on Saturday night. I think I mean, if he doesn't feel well, I don't want him to do it, but I think he's going to come back. Of course, we're going to do Christmas in July, if it's still July. I can't keep up anymore. And I will be back for all my regular shows this week. No Thursday show with Pasta. Obviously, Pasta is in Nicaragua. So make sure you're following his tweets and his videos that he's putting out there. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Everybody hung out. It was kind of a quiet Monday, but that's okay. We'll take a quiet Monday. Hey, Rokfin, what's up? Jeff Brewery, glad to see you. Who else is over there? Dingo. Ellie, welcome. Welcome. Let's see. Aram. Hi, Aram. So glad to see you, Aram. I know how much you help, Aram, so I appreciate it. And I'm sure Pasta's appreciate it too. Jim, good morning, Aram. You want to come say hi, Hunter, before I say goodnight? Denver Attaway, say goodnight. That's how tired I am. You going to come say hi? Don't knock over my stuff, though, please. She's a bull in a china shop. She got a new PS4 this weekend, so she is gaming away.
I was just eating, so I was watching YouTube.
You're watching YouTube? Yeah, she's just like her down. She's stuck on YouTube. Okay, well, I think I'm out of here, guys. I got a great closer for you. Oh, let me check my notes. So TPP notes. Wednesday, of course, we are going to close with Trailer Park Blues. If you've got something you want played on Trailer Park Blues, send it to me. We're going to start out with some Curtis Mayfield. Then I got some other stuff lined up. You guys are sending me this stuff, so I'm just writing it down. And then as we get to it, I'll throw it up there. So you guys produce the show. And of course, movie night on Friday, Hobo, and then Might GoFundMe. Help Chanda get to the Land of Oz. That is in the description box below. We're going to go make some cosmic brownies and clean the house because it is trashed. I got a great closer with Tom Petty this morning. You're so bad because you are so bad, but you're the best I ever had. So thanks for joining me, and I will see you Wednesday morning for the midweek recap. Have a great day.
My sister got lucky, married a yuppie, took him for all he was worth. Now she's a swinger, dating a singer. I can't decide which is worse, but not me, baby. I got you to save me. Oh, you're so bad, best thing I ever had. In a world gone mad, you're so bad. My sister's ex-husband can't get no loving, walks around dog-faced and hurt. Now he's got nothing, head in the oven. I can't decide which is worse, but not me, baby. I got you to save me. Oh, you're so bad, best thing I ever had. In a world gone mad, you're so bad. In a world gone mad, you're so bad. Oh, you're so bad. Best thing I ever had. In a world gone mad, you're so bad.